Happy Healthy Living with Yvonne Douglas. I'm Doug, and today we're going to make meatloaf, so stay tuned. Okay, so we're gonna make some meatloaf today, and I was thinking, what can I possibly cook today? And I thought, I haven't made meatloaf in a long time. So I have ground pork, 1 pound of ground pork. It says great for meatloaf, so this is just the Good & Gather brand that you find at Target. I'm also going to use 1 pound, of ground beef. All right, so we're gonna put that in a big bowl here. I'm gonna be using 2 eggs. So let me get my eggs, I'm gonna crack my eggs in here. 1, 2, and we're also going to need 2 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce. Worcestershire. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that right. Worcestershire. So that's 1. And 2 tablespoons of ketchup. 1, 2. We're also going to be adding garlic powder. I'm going to fill the top, just the top portion of garlic powder. And I'm also going to be using some onion powder. Now I'm going to be putting in here a mixture that I'm going to post right now. It's just basically onions, and I got the onions, I cooked up my onions, I put some Hungarian paprika on it, and salt and pepper, and I'm adding that to my meatloaf mixture. We're going to add some pepper. Probably like maybe a teaspoon of pepper, a little more, and then probably a teaspoon and a half of salt. And we're going to be using 1/3 cup of panko breadcrumbs. Plus, I have right here some parsley. This is some curly parsley. I'm going to be using probably around 3 tablespoons of parsley, all right? So I'm just chopping this up. Move my bowl. You just want to chop up your parsley. Make sure you wash it, of course, before you use it. I always rinse my parsley. Okay. That looks good. I'm going to add that to my meat mixture here. And that is it, folks. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to kind of use my hands. You don't want to over mix it. So I'm just going to use my hands, which make sure your hands are always clean. And you're combining the breadcrumbs, you're combining the egg, and the oven is preheated to 375. I'm going to preheat the oven. Always want to make sure you do that. So I'm just mixing this with my hands very loosely. All right, and now we're going to prepare our baking dish. Okay, so one more thing that I'm going to add, which I almost forgot, is I'm going to add 1/3 cup of milk. Now you can use beef broth with this if you wanted to, but I'm just going to use milk, okay? And I'm going to once again mix that in here. Okay, so I have a baking loaf dish that looks like this, and I'm just gonna get some foil. And what I wanna do is I'm placing it in the baking loaf dish like that, and I'm going to spray it with some non-stick spray. So I have some Pam here, and I'm just spraying it like that. And then I'm just going to form my mixture and add it to my baking loaf dish here. Just kind of takes on the form itself, real easy. And now I'm going to make a little topping. Now I'm using 3 tablespoons of light brown sugar, and I'm also going to be using a little mixture of barbecue sauce and a little ketchup. So I'm going to be using, let's see, probably 1 good tablespoon of the barbecue sauce, and then I'm going to add probably 2 tablespoons of ketchup. I'm gonna give that a mix. I'm just making a little sauce here with the brown sugar. I'm just gonna blend that really well together. Just in a small bowl is fine. I wanna make sure there's no clumps of that light brown sugar. And what are we going to be making with this? Some delicious mashed potatoes. So what a great meal, especially for a Sunday or any day of the week. Okay, this looks good. Move this over here. I'm going to just top my meatloaf with this delectable sauce. And we're gonna bake this at 375 for 45 minutes. Then we're gonna probably let it sit for about 10. And that's it, folks. How easy is that? Real easy, simple Sunday or anytime dinner that you can make. Ingredients pretty much in your house. Nothing too fancy. I'm gonna make sure I use all that delicious sauce. Okay, let me put it in the oven now, and we're going to bake it 375, 45 minutes. Okay, so the potatoes are done, and I am going to show you how I make my delicious mashed potatoes. So sometimes I use the blender. It turns out to be more like whipped potatoes. But I'm gonna use the old-fashioned smasher or masher. And we're gonna be using, oh, this thing is like so old now. Anyway, I'm gonna be using that. So what do is I add a little salt. So a little salt, a little pepper. Actually add a little extra pepper because I'm a big pepper person. And then I'm going to be using, what is this? This is 4 tablespoons of butter. And I'm just using the pot, or making it in the pot that it cooked in. I'm using just a little bit of milk, whole milk, and 2 large heaping tablespoons of sour cream. And then I usually add a little bit of garlic powder, make it a little garlicky. And then I'm just gonna smash all that stuff up. Okay, I'm gonna give it a little taste, see if it needs anything. I think it needs a little salt, a little more salt, a little more pepper. and just a little bit of more sour cream, I think. Okay. I think that will be good. I'm going to transfer it to a nice bowl and then take out my meatloaf. I'm hungry. Look at that. Delicious meatloaf. I checked the temperature. It's 160 degrees. Make sure it's at least 160 degrees. I'm using a meat thermometer. And then we got delicious mashed potatoes here. I cannot wait to take a bite of this. Okay, so I can't wait to take a bite of this. It looks super yummy. Oh, that's good. Oh, it's really good, guys. Perfect. Thank you so much for joining us on Happy Healthy Living with Yvonne Douglas. Remember, if you want that homey vibe, you need to subscribe. And please give this video a like. Until next time, my friends, happy healthy living. Bye-bye.